this is just another one of those special moments in my career. It's great, obviously, fodder for media outlets. There's just so many great storylines, and there always are. I mean, that's the NFL. There's so many great people and great stories to talk about. Obviously, Tommy's had an amazing career. His legacy is one of so many wins and so many accomplishments. And I've been a fan of his for a long time and enjoyed the few times we've gotten to play. I remember when I heard the news about him coming to the NFC, I thought this was a real possibility. And I'm excited about the opportunity to play against him one more time.
And Brady together in the postseason for the first time ever. It felt inevitable at some point a decade ago that the Packers and the Patriots would get together in the Super Bowl, and it would have happened, 6 years ago, but for that screwy comeback by the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship game. I mean, the Packers had it won. There were so many things you can point to. I'd still be tormented by that if I was a Packers fan 6 years later. The way that they had that game in their clutches, and it would have been Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers then. But the next best thing is Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers now. And you throw in the weather, Charean. They're calling for snow. It's going to be cold. Tom Brady is familiar with both. Yesterday was the 19th anniversary of the Tuck Rule game. I wonder whether the players who haven't played in the cold can truly appreciate it before they actually experience it. And if things were normal right now and I were the Buccaneers, I'd get up there early and have a couple of days practicing outside just to get people acclimated to what it feels like to try to perform in those circumstances.
Yeah, when I was in Tampa, Mike, I remember every single year, every December, I would write that the Bucs are this record in under 45 degrees, and it was forever since they had won a game. And this is obviously a different Buccaneers team. But a lot of these players, Mike, haven't played into January, so they don't know what it's like. They don't know how cold it is. They haven't played at Lambeau Field in January when the temperature is below 30 degrees, and they're still training in Tampa where it's warm. We know that. But they do have the one guy who's been really good in the cold weather, we know, Tom Brady, and that's never stopped him, and it's not going to stop him this week. But I'm with you. For some of these players who haven't played in it, I absolutely take them there early and get acclimated a little bit to cold weather. Decide what you're going to wear. That's important. What kind of cleats are you going to wear? What kind of thing? What are you going to have underneath your jersey, if anything? How are you going to prepare for this game? And especially mentally. I mean, they've all talked about that. It's a mental thing. So get them ready for it mentally beforehand.
There were two great storylines about the Buccaneers early in their existence. There was an extended period of time before they had a kickoff return for a touchdown, years and years and years. And it was 27 years where they hadn't won a game when the temperature at kickoff was below 40. They were 0-21. It was December of 2002, the year they won the Super Bowl. They were 11-4. The Bears were 4-11. They went to Chicago for that late season game in late December, and they got the win. For the first time ever, the thermometer below 40 at kickoff, and the Bucs get the win. Well, it's going to be a lot lower than 40 on Sunday. Here's Bruce Arians talking about how the weather could or will be a factor when the Bucs and the Packers get together on Sunday.
I don't really consider 28 degrees cold. I grew up in the North. We got a lot of guys that played in Green Bay and played in colleges up north. The weather won't affect the ball game, I don't think, at all.
Charean, he's got the red chameleon thing going on. Whatever shade of red he's wearing, that's the color of his face. Can we pull that up? His face was pink the other day when he was wearing a pink shirt. He's wearing red with the red sunglasses on top. He is the exact color. He is a chameleon as long as the color is red, Charean.
He almost looks like Santa Claus there. Just needs the full beard instead of the partial beard there, and he'd look just like Santa Claus.
Hey, 28's cold. It's been 28-ish here the past few days. Like, I took the garbage out last night. It's cold, and it takes a while to get used to it. And you feel it like little knives in your lungs. And now look, in the 20s you can live with. When it gets below 20, that's when it really becomes a challenge. But it affects your breathing. It affects your performance. It affects how you feel. And I think it's more of a factor when you're on the sideline trying to get warm. When you're moving around, it's a little bit easier. But I've been out and I've done things physically in the cold before, whether it's playing football when you're a kid or going out and running in the cold. You feel different. You stiffen up. Your body doesn't react the way that it ordinarily does. And I think that's going to be a factor for both teams. But the more used to it you are, the easier it's going to be to understand what's happening and react to it.
I saw a stat, and I'm not sure if it's just the postseason or all the time, but under 28 degrees, Brady 6-2, Rodgers 7-1. So they both had great success in cold weather. But again, it goes back to those Bucs players who have little playoff experience and little experience playing in the cold weather. And I was there for that Bucs championship game when they beat the Eagles, and it was, let me just tell you, it was cold that day. Veterans Stadium, they actually had the media outside. We weren't in the press box, and it was brutal. But I can't imagine that ball hitting your hands, Mike, hitting your arms, how bad that must hurt, and especially if you're not used to it.
Oh, yeah, that football, when it gets cold, my goodness, especially a fairly new NFL football that is properly inflated. That's a different story, though. Hey, it's going to be cold. Here's hoping that
right.
When they do the spot checks, if they do them at halftime, they understand PV equals NRT. It's not going to be 12.5 pounds per square inch after an hour and a half. My God, and we're up on the 6-year anniversary. I think it's either happened or it's coming. Whatever it is, we're getting close to the moment where it will be 6 years since the Colts-Patriots game that brought us Deflategate. I don't miss talking about that.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.